A question that a lot of people have is, what happens when I die? What will become of me when I die? The Vedic scriptures tell us of many possibilities. When we die, meaning when the soul leaves the body, the question is, where does the soul go? Many people believe that this present life is our one and only life. But Hindu scriptures say, how can that be? The soul is immortal, it is eternal. We have been born again and again. The soul has taken one body after the other. There are 8.4 million forms of life. There are varieties, many varieties of flora and fauna. There are so many different types of insects. There are various varieties of birds and animals. And the human life is one of the 8.4 million forms of life. So this is not the first life that we're living, nor will it be the last one, unless, of course, we attain liberation after death. So what becomes of the soul once it leaves this body? Kathopanishad says there are many possibilities. Yoni manye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehinam sthanu manye nusanyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. Kathopanishad says that after leaving the body, the soul may enter the body of an insect or a bird or a plant or a tree or a human or an animal. The soul may go to Swargalok, to the celestial abodes, and become a devta, enter the body, or assume the body of a devta. There are many possibilities. Because our actions determine what becomes of the soul after the soul leaves the body. So it's not as if there's one answer to the question, what will become of the soul? This will become of the soul. It depends on our actions. When the soul leaves the body, it leaves along with the mind and the intellect. And within the mind, there are accumulated actions. The mind is a storehouse of unlimited actions that we have performed in the past. And then we have performed actions in this present life. So there is an unlimited store of actions that travels with the mind. And those actions decide where we will go. And God is a judge. He's a neutral judge who judges every individual and sends every individual soul to whatever form of life that individual soul is deserving of. Many people think that once you have attained the human form of life, you cannot be demoted. But this is a huge misconception. It cannot be that once we are human, we'll always be a human. Because the human form of life is the rarest form of life. Kabahu kakari karuna naradehi det ish binu hetu sanehi. Saint Tulsidas says in his Ramayan that the human form of life is the rarest of the rare. It is very rarely that God, who is causelessly merciful, gives to the individual soul the greatest gift of a human birth. How can it be that once we are human, and no matter what we do, we will be born a human again? It's like a student who is writing an exam, and he doesn't know anything. He hasn't studied at all. So all he writes on the examination paper is, Gai hamari mata hai, aage kuch nahi aata hai. The teacher writes back, Bail hamara baap hai, number dena paap hai. How can it be that the student, without deserving any marks, expects that he will pass and he will do very wonderfully in his exam? In the same way, how can we as humans expect that we will be born as humans once again, even though we've done nothing to deserve it? Scientists have discovered 10,000 little creatures in a rotting apple. They cut up a rotting apple, then they found 10,000 little microscopic creatures there. There are so many other creatures, and there are only 6.5 billion humans in the world today. So it's very easy for us to understand that the human form of life is very rare, and it has to be deserved. I want to be a human once again, at least a human. If I don't attain liberation, I at least want to be a human. I don't want to become an ant or an octopus or a horse. I don't want to be demoted to a lower form of life, a tree that will live for 150 years. I don't want to be born in lower form of life. I want to be at least a human. My Gurudev, Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj says that we as humans should at least practice as much devotion as is needed to secure a human birth once again. The human form of life has to be deserved. We can be demoted to lower forms of life. We may say to ourselves, we may say to others, who knows what's going to happen in the future? I don't care. I'll just do whatever I want to do. Sir, you can do whatever you want to do, but you cannot attain the fruits of your choice. You cannot say to God, all right, now I don't want those actions to determine my fate. I don't want you to punish me for those actions. God says, "O humans, you are free to perform the actions of your choice, but when it comes to reaping the fruits of those choice, you have no choice. Then I shall decide." This is why we as humans are told by God, the Vedas say, "Punyena punya lokam nayati, papena papam ubhabhyameva manushya lokam." Prashnopanishad. If you perform virtuous actions, you will beget virtuous results. If you perform sinful actions, you will attain sinful results. And if you perform a mixture of both the actions, then you get combined fruits. Good and bad. Like we say, bittersweet. We have bittersweet experiences in life because we have performed bitter actions, sinful actions, and we have performed sweet actions, good actions. We have done both good and bad. And so life is sometimes good, sometimes bad. Because God says you, as humans, are free to do whatever you want. But when it comes to reaping the fruits of those actions, you have no choice. So we, as humans, have to be very careful because we can certainly be demoted to lower forms of life. The human form is so precious, and it's so rare, and it's so desirable that even Indra, who is the king of celestial abodes, he's a king of Swargalok, even he wishes to be born a human. Gayanti deva kila gita kani dhanyastu ye bharat bhumi bhage. The devtas in Swargalok, the celestial gods, wish to be born human, and they beg God to give them even one opportunity as human. The heavenly gods look upon us, they look at us, and they look at us with envy. Oh, we wish we had what they have. And we as humans, we tend to be careless. We tend to be careless because as long as we don't understand the importance of the human form of life, we will continue to be careless. We should not be smug and think once a human, always a human, because this is not so. The soul, after leaving the body, may also attain Swargalok. It may go to Swarga, the celestial abodes, for a while, depending on the amount of virtuous actions performed. And then tavat pramodate swarge yavat punyam samapyate. The Bhagavad says, then one attains the celestial abodes only as long as one's virtuous actions are intact. Once they're exhausted, he is forced to leave Swargalok. So Swarga, or heaven, is for a limited period of time. As is Narak. One may attain hell as a result of one's actions, but thankfully even hell is for a limited period of time. The concept of heaven and hell in Hinduism is very different from the popular concept of heaven and hell. Heaven is temporary, as is hell. Heaven is not the kingdom of God, and hell is not forever and ever. God has made elaborate arrangements to punish the wrongdoers. There are 18 hells that our scriptures talk about, and there are 7 heavens that the scriptures talk about. But the aim of a human is not to go to Swarga, heaven, or to go to hell, Narak. Look, our aim is to not to be imprisoned once again. Our aim is to attain liberation from here. So we must choose wisely the actions that we perform.